Hi, I'm an Agile coach at Agilar. My name is Nicolas Kirio, and I've been supporting a very big FMCG company for already 2 years. This is a company that has been implementing successfully Agile and has revamped how they do digital and physical product development. I will describe our work at that global business function in charge of improving processes of the company. It's called the Global Business Excellence Unit. It has around 250 people and they are distributed across the whole world. They were facing many challenges: lack of transparency, lack of ownership, a very high work overload, and a lot of micromanagement as reaction to the lack of transparency. We mapped everything the team had been working on, and we mapped everything that was in the pipeline. Now the next step was to decide which of these things they actually wanted to prioritize in 2025. So we started prioritizing with a technique that for us is very straightforward, effort versus value type of matrix. This effort versus value type of matrix is going to help us organize projects and filter out projects that don't bring enough value for the effort they demand. That offered us a first screening, selecting some candidates for the next roadmap. And then we did another technique. We applied the Kano method. The Kano method is a very good technique to assess stakeholder feelings and desires regarding initiatives. So we showed them the initiatives and we asked them to rank them. Now, identify what were the highest value, lowest effort type of initiatives, and which were the initiatives that, through the Kano method, our stakeholders clearly indicated that they really wanted that feature to come to life. We created our roadmap. This roadmap was agreed upon everybody. It was refined. We came up with a success criteria, and we helped them also to come up with a deliverable that was actually feasible in 1 calendar year. Once we had the product piece of the problem in place, we focused on the process. We came up with a process to filter incoming projects. Okay, what are the criteria these incoming projects need to fulfill for us to actually pay attention to them or consider them in the next planning cycle? And we also had some requirements for whoever initiated a request to us to make sure that also from the stakeholder side, there was some homework to be done. We also did we designed a governance. We co-created a governance with them to organize the whole 250 area that was very much scaled or is loosely inspired in less with a tribe type of organization with leadership, with 1 product owner per pillar. They had 6 pillars and 1 central figure as the chief PO, which was the VP of the area. That would conform the leadership team, and then each of the pillars would have their pods. They also implemented OKRs. OKRs was a collaborative goal-setting protocol that we brought as a suggestion to help them link their objectives and their initiatives to a desirable outcome, to a key result that we could measure, that was time-bound, that we could actually influence in 3 months. Some key challenges along the way that we had was, first, the big carryover. They had a lot of initiatives that they had already started the previous year, and they were still working on them, but they were almost occupying their full capacity. So adding new initiatives for the new year was actually almost not possible. So we had to decide if we stopped them or not. This was challenging because if we stopped them, it would mean that most of what they did so far could maybe go to waste. But the Kano method exercise and the value versus effort method, prioritization method, showed that many of the initiatives they had already started didn't bring enough value to the company. So they were actually candidates to be stopped. The other challenge we had was how to say no, how to respect the priorities that they set for the area and the team. They had very strong stakeholders, and some of the stakeholders wanted to see their projects and features worked on ASAP, even if we hadn't considered them before, even if we hadn't refined them before, even if we had no capacity for it, because we had already filled out our yearly roadmap. In the end, we had to compromise, and we involved key stakeholders to help us deprioritize projects to make space for their new initiatives and requests. The other challenge we had was micromanagement. Remember, we said that due to the lack of transparency, we were seeing some high levels of micromanagement. This had a very strong cultural inertia. The company has a very output-driven culture, and management was very uncomfortable, only knowing each 2 weeks what the progress was. So they kept staying very much involved in the teams. With time, after a few quarters of better deliveries and more outcomes, they started to move back and stay more at strategic level. We can say today that the implementation of agile ways of working in this area has been a success. They have seen increased transparency, increased output, increased outcomes, less micromanagement, and less sense of overwhelming workload. We have been tracking the amount of workload, giving people the possibility to say no and to have tools to plan and balance their workloads proactively, knowing their capacity. We have also helped this area end to end, from the VP down to the team members at the pods, changing the whole area and how they operate. If you're facing similar challenges, I would recommend that you go through the following process. Start with a clear governance. Have a process to intake new projects. Have a very clear criteria on what goes into the pipeline. And then have also a process to know what's the status of the initiatives that are in process without the need of actually checking in and micromanage. Once you have the governance in place, build a backlog. Have this backlog. You don't need to wait to have the governance in place, but build a backlog and keep it updated. Have a backlog that will work as a single source of truth for your whole unit. This should be transparent, prioritized, and agreed with stakeholders. Okay, your stakeholders should know about this backlog and should agree with the order that you gave to these initiatives. Good luck.